Yeah, hello, brothers and sisters. Magandang gabi, Pilipinas. 9:30 na po. Okay, we'll be having another episode for a continuation of what we have. Wait, we'll see. All right, all right.
We are gathered here today to listen and understand the many problems and issues confronting our beloved organization. Surely, many of us here, if not all, have heard or read in the social media the bickering amongst brothers and sisters on the many sides of the issues, may it be pro or con, but as well as those who express neutrality to preserve the fraternal spirit of APO or Alpha Phi Omega. With the burgeoning and nagging issues, some or many of us come to the extent of becoming too personal and emotional that threaten the very core values of brotherhood and sisterhood. Brothers and sisters, we are here not to add fuel to the flame. We are here gathered to understand deeper the issues and together decide if the track that is redeeming back the true essence of APO by regrouping into our traditional name of Alpha Phi Omega International Service Fraternity and Sorority that we have taken is appropriate to redeem the old glory of our organization. Before we will proceed in the presentation, that is why Alpha Phi Omega International Service Fraternity and Sorority was organized and its vision and thrusts, let us start first with a brief presentation and later on discuss on the issues, problems, and the status of APO Philippines. As stated earlier, we might have heard the issues affecting APO Philippines, but we might not be aware on the extent of the damages and demoralization amongst our ranks resultant in these issues. Brothers and sisters, what we are about to see are the most damning and blatant abuses committed by the perpetual leadership of APO Philippines national leadership. These are the very reasons that left us with no options but to take drastic measures of regrouping all worthy brothers and sisters to a non-compromising stand against these intolerable abuses. We leave it to you also to reflect and decide on whether the track we have taken is the ultimate solution to bring back what is truly Alpha Phi Omega. With the help of some of our brothers and sisters from overseas and from National Capital Region, and through research and interviews, we have gathered four major issues and or malpractices of the national office. Many of the pictures presented here have been posted several times on Facebook, dragging the name of APO into politics, illegal recruitment, and proliferation of life members, perpetual leadership through fraudulent election exercise, non-compliance to government reportorial requirements, and attempt to turn APO into a profit organization. First, on dragging APO into politics. Let us begin with a brief historical perspective. It can be traced in the year 1991 when Brother President Emeritus Mike Makiso ventured into politics as a campaign manager of FVR. Although it might not be his intention to drag APO into politics, but as an APO national figure at that time, his act could have triggered the ambitions of others to use APO for their own political gains or getting a juicy post in the government. Thus, when FVR won the elections, he was appointed as presidential advisor for peace. During the NAB in Subic 1991, FVR was conferred an honorary membership. During this time, many more political figures were conferred honorary status by the National Executive Board. Some of the most popular personalities who were endorsed for honorary membership but were not approved by the National Biennial Convention in 1991-1993 were Ruben D. Torres, former Secretary of the Department of Labor, Franklin Drilon, Secretary of Justice in 1992, and Jose de Venecia, House Speaker 1992. Maybe as a precedent, in 1997, prior to the 1998 elections, PNP Teddy Rivera and PNP Felix Marinas again used APO into politics by backing up the president's campaigns of Jose de Venecia. During this time, Congressman Cerillas of Zamboanga del Sur was conferred as honorary member in May 1997 NEB in Baguio City. And the rest is a sour history for APO. Now, let us run through briefly the list of honorary members conferred as early as 1954 and proliferated in the 1990s. Maybe some names here are very familiar to you and might have held high positions in our organization. It can be surmised from the presentation that most of them have been conferred the honorary status in mid-1990s to 2010, where many of our brethren are already into politics, and not surprisingly, almost successfully institutionalized during the political heights of Brother Binay. The attempt to institutionalize politics into APO was during the reign of the APO TPT. The performance team, or TPT, started as a clique of APO mostly from ETA chapter during the Surigao Convention in 2005. During that convention, some forms of election irregularities were already present, like disenfranchisement of some voting delegates and vote buying coupled with massive fellowship and parties with no substantial General Assembly process and results. Surely, we were entertained by the host, but the essence of fairness and spirit of brotherhood started to diminish due to strong affiliation and misguided loyalty to a certain group for election purposes. Some of those who have attended the Surigao Convention described it as very chaotic and BGA, wherein opposing parties and their followers shouted invectiveness to each other. Monies flowed during that infamous convention wherein the essence of kapatiran was substituted with ambition for power. The clique or internal party affiliation was institutionalized through the formation of the so-called the performance team, led by Mel Adriano, Jimmy De Castro, and Luis Paredes, et al. After the Surigao Convention in 2005, the Tagaytay Convention in 2007 was likewise marred with massive election irregularities. This time, election fraud was more pronounced, where we can say that honest and clean intention to serve and lead is not anymore an assurance to get elected national post. Rather, just like the kind of political exercise in the country, one could get elected through deceitful means, characterized by vote buying, propaganda, and the use of unknown personalities. Getting the intended election results They continued their fraudulent practices in Boracay, Cagayan de Oro City, and the much controversial Legazpi Convention in 2013. Many of us might not be aware that Brother Mike Taha was a major victim of the anomalous practices. Sensing that the sentiments are growing against them from Tagaytay to Cagayan de Oro City, they fielded a Muslim brother from Mindanao who is at the same time can well provide the financial rigors of the election campaign to run for national president. With the mechanics of fraud already well in place, Brother Mike Taha won the election marred with protest. His 2-year term was short of a dummy position where the TPT still exercised control and authority. And who could forget the highly politicized Dumaguete Convention in 2015? The formation of TPT and APO politicking has reached to the regional levels and to various alumni associations. The TPT at the national level molded the thinking of many alumni leaders all throughout the country, and to the extent made them as their protege or followers on their election and other anomalous agenda, like making them coordinators during the Binay campaign. Maybe they expected a reward of a government position or employment of some sort if Binay would win the election. Brothers and sisters, we understand that as members of this known fraternity, it is sad to say that maybe many of us here present fell victim to that manipulation. When it all started, it could have been a TPT long-term plan, that is, to control APO national leadership, install the value or belief of an APO political force, and develop politically minded APO to be in the ranks. You might have heard that if all APO in the Philippines and overseas would unite to include relatives and closest friends, APO would sure take the presidency of the land or take as many seats of the party list in Congress. Thus, in 2009, the APO party list system was born. Mel Adriano was the first AHAPO party list nominee, and his protege Jimmy Di Castro second nominee. But unfortunately for them, IBA party list of Bebot Bello was also organized and won a seat in the Congress. Let me read to you the statement of a worthy brother who strongly expressed his sentiments against APO entering into politics. Brother Peji Kirai, ETA chapter. As mentioned in early 90s, apolitics were already acquainted to our beloved organization. But during that period, majority of the members perhaps did not know or were not well informed, since social media is not popular or known that time. Besides, as genuine APO, we always have the trust and respect with one another and would not expect that a true brother and sister would betray such trust. The role of social media really afforded us more advantage in getting information and status of our organization. From the various APO-related FB pages, we gathered and analyzed objectively information gathered. We also tried to understand all sides of reactions and opinions. However, as observed, we seldom get official reactions or statements from the current APO national leadership. Instead, we got only some harsh and sometimes emotional reactions from their spokespersons. Brothers and sisters, we would like you to understand that firstly, we did not find fault Brother Binay's political career, and to any one of us who supported him. He is our brother, and our shared values of brotherhood, sisterhood, we would readily extend and our support to every authentic brother and sister who is in need, including those who desires for a political position. We despise the blatant use of APO by TPT to advance their own political ambitions, and the brainwashing and misrepresentation of the ideals and principles of our organization, as taught to us by our founders. the effect of the politics in APO, and the personal ambitions and interests of some of the national leaders by clinging at all costs to power cause all these divide and troubles. And we cannot anymore tolerate this. Now, brothers and sisters, let us run through to the rest of these issues affecting our fraternity. The succeeding issues are what we considered as the outcomes or effects of politics in APO. The number two issue, and probably the most notorious misdeed of the current national leadership, is the illegal mass recruitment and instant professional membership. It is not unknown to us, brothers and sisters, that election is a numbers game. Perhaps to increase the numbers and their sphere of influence, APO national leadership, headed by TPT, initiated mass recruitment of mostly professionals like the Fontana 1, 2, and 3, and Maluso. The pictures say it all. Some of these professionals, as we have known, are LG officials, police officers, and businessmen. We also receive reports allegedly these professionals paid as much as 20 to 40,000 pesos. Karapalan na talaga, brothers and sisters. And to top it all, despite the many protests in writing and in social media, tuloy pa rin sila. Maybe you have heard or seen already their latest Subic May 2018 board resolution or amended by laws not to put age cap or age limit in the recruitment. What the? Sorry, brothers and sisters, for the emotions we have expressed in this presentation. We, the legitimate members and who pass through the rigors of the initiation, would really feel bad about it. Ours is a collegiate fraternity and sorority founded on the principles of scouting and with the visions of molding the youth to be responsible and productive citizens for community service. And here they are, recruiting professionals. Supposedly, our APO national leaders should focus on the diminishing collegiate recruitment and, as alumni members, render unselfish community services and projects. But what they focus on are for their own personal interests and ambitions. We even heard from many reliable sources, senior brothers and sisters, that APO now even demanded payments ranging from 20,000 to 50,000 pesos. It is really funny how they tried to subvert the process of APO recruitment, like the enrollan. Look closely. Brothers and sisters, the enrollment form. What is this? Born on 1944 and some were enrolled November 2, which is a national holiday and usually not a regular enrollment calendar. 9 units without payments? At senior citizens na. Who are they trying to fool? Again, some of these evidences say it all. They were subverting the process of initiation for the purpose of increasing their sphere of influence for political gains. All these things happened during the time when Brother Binay eyed for presidency of the land. And to justify and legitimize their actions, they removed the age cap or membership application through the recent resolution in their Subic General Assembly on May 2018. If you remain with APO Philippines under the present dispensation, you will soon find yourself shaking hands with a senior-looking brother or sister with a much younger batch than you are. Brothers and sisters, we will leave this to your own judgment, whether these actions are tolerable or justifiable. The APO ISFS have already made a stand, and that is to sever ties with the current leadership for reasons of grave abuse of power, shaming our beloved fraternity, and actions of impunity without taking appropriate actions to all of the complaints filed. With all of these misconducts, they have not shown even the slightest remorse. These are totally unacceptable for us and for all worthy brothers and sisters. We paid dearly sweat and blood to become a member of this prestigious and honorable fraternity, and we could not allow that a circle of few misguided elements would totally ruin the vision of our great founders. Now, brothers and sisters, let's just run through the number 3 issue, that is, perpetual leadership through fraudulent election exercise. Firstly, we would like to stress here that we did not find fault our brothers and sisters who offered their potentials and expertise to lead our organization. We did not find wrong also our brothers and sisters who joined TPT in their lineup, especially the various regional representatives, regional directors, and the appointed positions. We understand not all in TPT lineup Mukhang na-charge na yata tawag sa team nila ngayon under their NP Daboy Fernandez. Ano na ba tawag nila ngayon? We totally despise the unfair and dirty tactics employed by TPT and their cohorts to manipulate the election results during the NBGA. We have gathered some pictures during the 2013 Legazpi Convention in which some of our brothers and sisters from Zamboanga area were provided free airfare and accommodation. These brothers and sisters were only allowed to go out at the time of the elections. We have witnessed that they employed the same tactic in the Dumaguete Convention in 2015. Again, we did not find fault of those who accepted this offer. We understand that many of us participated or attended the NBGAs or regional elections with the main purpose of socializing and meeting new brothers and sisters, and probably considered the election exercise as a brotherly or sisterly matter. However, we, the concerned members of APO SFS, found this a very serious matter that curtails honest and fair electoral exercise. The Legazpi and Dumaguete NBGAs were the most fraudulent election exercises in the history of APO. The chaotic election proceedings in the previous conventions maybe were not so much noticeable because, as brothers and sisters, we just enjoyed the fellowship and interaction, especially in meeting chapter and batch mates. However, as we said earlier, the election drama even started in Surigao Convention, where Brother Jimmy De Castro got his first term as national president. The voting delegates method, where only 4 collegiate and 4 recognized alumni association members could vote, started in the Surigao Convention. This is the first time we heard that many of the delegates then
Ayun.
protested that their names in the voting list were missing.
Yan.
Since then, various cheating methods and other forms of schemes were employed in all NBGAs that followed. Instead of professionalism and substance, the NBGAs were full of chaos, drama, and circus. We can only ask ourselves, why are they clinging on national positions at all cost? What's in there? Are they hiding something? What is there to protect? What is more important, election or implementing LFS programs and well-being of the members? We can only sigh in desperation and disbelief that a service fraternity like ours is run like a political party or a family corporation. It can also be surmised that these misdeeds and extent of corruption might be too much to be exposed once a new set of officers not affiliated with their party would be elected. And we are not yet talking of the honorarium or salaries that they bestow themselves. What a shame. Brothers and sisters, let us briefly examine the numerous and ingenious ways and schemes employed by TPT to manipulate and ensure election results on their favor. Free board and lodging and transportation in Dumaguete. Their known supporters even hired several vans from Mindanao. At the regional level, election in Southern Mindanao region in 2016, several vans likewise were hired, even coming as far as Surigao del Sur. Mass ID issuance, even the day of the election. This they did at the regional level with their accomplices, regional officers. Those who do not have ID at the time of the election but known supporters were outrightly issued one. Issuance of life members' ID to questionable members. This is particularly true on southern Mindanao during the regional election. Surprisingly, line of life ID holders exceeded that of the regular alumni vote.
Yeah, shout out kay Brad Ernie Bolante. Ito ang dapat maipalabas sa media, mga dokumento nilang palsipikado. All right. Yun pala ang hirap pag ano.
Voting delegates. Many of those supposedly life ID holders were bewildered as to the process of voting, wherein their mentors were in close guard, or her own fraternal brothers and sisters. On 2017, NBGA in General Santos City, TPT tried to appease the growing dissent by reverting back to the so-called Magic 10 system election. With no serious opposition present, and with two major groups emerged, the APO United and APO ISFS, that boycotted the Gensan NBGA, the TPT candidate handily won the NP post. Now, brothers and sisters, let us turn to the number 4 issue, non-compliance to government reportorial requirements and attempt to turn APO into profit organization. This issue proved that the national APO leadership was more inclined in making money and politics rather than living the true values of Alpha Phi Omega that includes transparent and utmost professionalism in organizational management. For several years, APO Philippines under TPT failed to satisfactorily comply with the reportorial requirements of the Securities and Exchange Commission and even tried to amend the bylaws by themselves. We will not dwell too much on this issue. We will give them the benefit of the doubt whether to this date they have complied completely the SEC reportorial requirements, on which they said lately, October 2018, that they have already complied with the BIR and the SEC requirements. The issue that we want to drive at here is that for the past years, the national office was not transparent on the legal status of the organization. To our knowledge, they have had a hard time updating the SEC General Information Sheet due to unjustifiable income surplus from various cash donations. And to top it all, they were trying to turn our fraternity into a foundation. Also, we have gathered that they have attempted several times to amend the bylaws without even informing the general membership or presented in the General Assembly. We also understand that when APO ISFS and APO United were formed and raising the issues of SEC and the legality of their ID payment collections, they frantically processed their SEC requirements and obtaining their PIR certificates. This just shows that for several years at the helm of APO leadership, and with the trust given by the members to them, they just ignored what is supposedly a very basic organizational requirement. Also, it is doubtful whether they have renewed their BIR registration and obtained BIR certificates. The major issues that they have been hiding from us were NAO or NAO leadership only start submitting SEC reportorial requirements starting 2003. No records in the SEC can be found that the previous APO leadership religiously submitted their AFS, AFR, or annual financial status, annual financial report from 1981 to 2002. The following slides also show documents we have gathered that the NAO has been remiss on their responsibilities to regularly comply with the SEC requirements. It also showed that they have been manipulating or amending the bylaws without proper consultation or ratification by the General Assembly. This just shows how they manipulated the management of APO to suit their needs. The use of their official receipts, as shown earlier, is also in doubt when they failed to comply with the SEC requirements in and tax exempt certificate in 2013. They aptly justified that the national office have had a hard time justifying our surplus and fundraising activities, since now during this period was occupied in politics and recruitment of professional members. One could easily conclude that they had put aside the legal matters of the organization. As if not contented turning our beloved organization into a political party, they tried to turn our organization into a foundation. It has been all over the social media that the past national leaders of APO, mostly past national presidents, registered APO into APO Philippines International Foundation. Perhaps this explains their methods of hoarding or hiding the funds, as they previously stated they had a hard time justifying our income surplus. Many questions remain unanswered up to this date. What is the foundation all about? Who are the members of this foundation? Why there was no report of this foundation to the General Assembly? Other much critical issues affecting now relates to financial transparency, including the status of the Librado I Oreta Foundation, or LIUF. The following slides tell us the supposedly purpose of the LIUF and the donations raised, but until now the foundation is clouded with mystery. Reportedly, as shown in the slides, the fund reached to 600,000 pesos. However, until now, it is still shrouded with doubts whether the funds are still intact. We're also aware that the national leadership of APO Philippines spent the APO funds with impunity by giving themselves salaries, honoraria, and holding their executive meetings abroad. As a service and voluntary organization, with funds coming mostly from donations and membership dues, they should be frugal in their spending and ensure that community services are given priority. Worthy brothers and sisters, you might be asking, what now? Ano dapat gawin? You'll be the judge whether you would remain in the mainstream under the current APO Philippines leadership or rise up and redeem what is truly Alpha Phi Omega. The issues are so serious to be ignored. No concrete efforts to address head-on the issues and not even a slightest remorse. And they are even proud to delist some of our worthy brothers and sisters who stood up against their tyrannical rule. This is not for us. This is for the future of our much beloved and respected organization. APO ISFS has drawn the line. Enough is enough. We should vigorously claim back what is truly APO. It is now or never. Now, the ball is on your hands, brothers and sisters. Are you in or you want to maintain the status quo? Maraming salamat, brothers and sisters. May we always be.
There. Ayun. So, alam na o ngayon lang nalaman kung ano yung nangyayari sa kaapuhan. Oo. Ngayon lang natin na ano yan, na nalaman na meron palang mga ganyang pangyayari. So, binibigyan halaga lang natin apong pinaghirapan, apong mamahalin. O shout out na mga brads. Join na. Oo. Ayan yung link. Ang daling makita. Di ba? Ma, ano, makasama natin kayong lahat. At usap-usap tayo dito. Ano bang magandang gawin? Ano bang tama? Ano bang para sa welfare ng bawat isang apo? Para mabigyang kahulugan yung pinaghirapan nating lahat. Hindi naman pwedeng ganyan-ganyan lang yan. Di ba? Hindi naman madali yung akala natin, ganun-ganun lang. Pero ngayon lang natin na-realize, putya, pala, buhay pa lang ng kapalit. Yeah. Ayun, tama lang. Join me, Brads. Shout out. Diba? Anong chapter? Anong location? Gising. Diba? Pampabata tong ginagawa natin. Diba? We don't want to age ungracefully. Gusto natin graceful aging para masaya mundo. Hindi nakasimangot. Alam mo yun, pag nakasimangot ang mundo, scarcity mindset yan. We were born to be having an abundance mindset. There is plenty out there. Marami dyan. Pampatulog. Hindi ito pampastress. Di ba? Anong gusto nyong panoorin? Gawa tayo ng movie dyan. Anong movie ba ang gusto? 11, oh. Yeah, shout out lang. Walang issue. Maghanap nga tayo na isi-share. Share tayo ng Facebook. Sino? Share? Sino? Sino yan? Hindi natin Oh, siso. Si Ellyn. Picture nga natin si sis. Why do I look small? Kulito. Di ba? Lagay natin, why do I look small? Share. Tingnan natin, share natin yun. Facebook. Ayun. Share. Na-share ba? Dapat kasi lumabas yan dun sa Ayun. Ayan. Ayan ang sponsor natin. Our sponsor, Sis Ellyn, Fogarty. 79 Alpha. Ano yan? Siya yung nag-sponsor ng mga StreamYard, yung Zoom, yung website, nako, lahat na, halos. Marami nabudol-budol. Di ba? Ilagay natin. Yun. Yan yung sis. May kasama niya yung office mate niya ata. So, shout out kay Sis Lynn sa pag-create ng website, pagbayad sa domain, bayad sa hosting, bayad sa web preferences, bayad sa StreamYard. It's for $450 sa Zoom para sa business subscription, yung non-stop. That's around $219. Ang website, lahat. So, ano, bigyan natin ng halaga yung paghirap ng sis at hindi naman madali yan. She's having a lot of work, no? Sa school, sa shop, okay. Di ba? She's everywhere. Sana ganun lahat para may hindi nakakalungkot isipin pag may namatay na brother o sis na hindi naging magandang kapalaran sa buhay, hindi tayo makatulong. Kaya salamat kay Brad Jake at naisip niya yung group life insurance sa APO ISFS. Merong 60,000, 50,000 Philippine pesos para sa namatay na brother o sis, wag nawa. Pero proactive lang tayo instead na magpas tayo ng hat. Imagine we're not even 200 ID holders sa APO ISFS. Pero nakapag-isip tayo ng kabutihan para sa ating sariling mga kapatid sa APO. Hindi tayo nagdamot. For a simple 1,200 pesos ID fee, we're entitled to 60,000 insurance, 50,000 pesos. Palagi ko kasi naaalala yung 60,000 dahil yan yung ng member ng APO 60,000 ID holders. Pero walang insurance. Ano yun? 'Di ba? And they receive only 10,000 pesos. Siguro naman na alam nating lahat hindi kakasya yung 10,000 pesos. 'Di ba? Ganun lang para meron tayong meron tayong nagagawang maganda. Hindi yung puro wento. 'Di ba? Kaya minsan nakagtatampo kasi yung iba. Wala iniwan eh. Mga dating opisyal din ng Now Inc. Ngayon nasa APO SFS. Yung kultura nung Now Inc. Majority dala-dala pa rin yung kultura sa APO SFS. So what will happen? Hindi naman bossing lahat yan. We are supposed to be all workers. Pero yung iba, tingin nila sa sarili nila, ewan ko. Nakakadismaya lang, no? Di ba? Tapos kung ako mga ganyan, may hihiya ako. Hindi ko natatanggapin yung appointment ko eh. Considering na meron akong track record ng kapalpakan eh. And very poor communication. Di ba? Just the same. So, ito yung mga taong 98% na what's in it for me. And only 2% in this world wanted to make a difference. So where are you, brothers and sisters? Sa 2% o sa 98%? Yung what's in it for me, kikilos lang kung may pakinabang ako. Di ba? Pero kung wala na akong pakinabang, di ba? Fuck you all. Ano yun? So, where is the 12 precious jewels there? Tapos pagka magsalita, ang tataas. Di ba? As if, alam mo yun, na may impact yung mga ginawa sa APO. Di ba? Sayang yung panahon eh. Majority pa dyan, mga kakontemporary ko sa 70s. Di ba? Na ang role is mangutya lang na mangutya without doing something. Well, i-insist yung gusto nilang mangyari na there are so many options that we can do to demonstrate to fellow APO members na itong ginagawa ng APO ISF. Eh, ang gusto mangyari, tutok tayo doon sa four major critical issues we just showed in the video. Number one is perpetual leadership to fraudulent elections. Number two is illegal recruitment of professionals. Number three is fake membership. Di ba? Basta campaign manager nung mga lalo na nung panahon ni dating BP Jojo Binay, nagiging apo yung ano, ano nang hirap. Then corruption, right? If this Apo Now Inc. is not corrupted, then yung SEC and BIR compliance requirements niyan is up to date. We're not supposed to tell you all of this kasi we more like doing things related to passion. Our passion projects like Becoming Generation Restoration 2021 to 2030 in line with the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, that's UNESCO. So, so what we're doing now, we're doing mangrove tree projects. Makikita nyo yan. I-share ko sa inyo mamaya kung anong ginagawa natin dyan. So, yun ang gusto nating mangyari. Yung positive. Di ba? Influence with honor yung mga brothers and sis. Now, we're doing something. Hindi kami ngaw-ngaw na ngaw-ngaw dyan about what's happening with APO with the current leadership. Problema dyan, hindi naman naiintindihan na ganun pala. Yeah, now let me add to the stream yung passion projects natin. So ito yung passion projects natin. Nakikita nyo, one is with Barangay Bulanon, Sagay City. Nakakatawa to mga brads. Kasi ito yung mga bata ginawa ni Brad Bert Armada, Alpha Delta 75 batch. Ginawa nila nung panahon namin kasi importante po yung A, B, C, D, E, no? At sa umaabot ng ganun kasi pag patay na yung walang neophyte, hindi natin na-adapt yung E ulit eh. Di ba? Kung wala tayong ipinasa ng A, B, C, D, mabilis yan eh. Kung hindi po masaya nag-quit ka agad, 28, nag-quit ka agad within 1 week, o palta na kagad natin yung B. Okay, after 1 week, nag-quit lahat. See, kaya minsan, nagtataka yung mga brad, katulad ni Brad Richard Maestrado. Bakit daw sa NCR, umaabot ng E tsaka F yung chapter? Ganun kasi yung lakaran. Di ba? Tsaka sa NCR, I'm sorry in fairness, hindi strong the circuit tayo. Pero let's face situational awareness tsaka yung reality. Hindi naman kasi nakabaon sa isang hukay yung paa mo kung nandyan ka sa ilalim ng puno sa probinsya eh. Di ba? Sa NCR, exposed ka sa gulo eh. Paglabas mo ng bahay mo, nakabaon na isang paa mo sa kamatayan. Dahil yung gulo sa eskwela, umaabot sa bahay. Binabahay ka, hinahunting ka sa bahay. Di ba? Ganon ka, yung worst yung sitwasyon sa Apo na nandun sa NCR. I'm sorry, ito lang po yung totoo. Oh, si Brad Rodelio, Alpapay, Mangaldan, Pangasinan. Yes, Brad. Shout out kay Brad Rodelio. Rodelio, wait, Right? Hindi naman kasi naman ganun ka easy, easy. No. It's not easy, man. Hindi. In conclusion, naputol yun. Ayan. Ayun, siguro talagang ganun lang. Great, Brad, Rogelio, Novelas, Alpha P, Alpha Pi. Ano ba Alpha Pi? Hanapin. Alpha Pi. Alpha Pi. University of Luzon. Dagupan City. Yan po ang Alpha Pi chapter. ID number 07268. Yeah. Mga batch to 76. Yeah, Brad. Ang ID ko is number 06965. Na-stapa lang 2 beses. Siguro mga nasa 6'7" ako dapat eh. O 6'3", ganyan. Sige pa, mga brads. Yeah. Okay, Bulanon, Sitio Bulanon. Hanap tayo ng share. Sige nga, paano? Meron tayo isang dito video. Para sa mga saan ba to?
Good afternoon, Brother Tul Ramon. Ito yung preparasyon namin sa float parade this coming September 8 sa araw ng Digos. Yung sinasabi ko kanina, ito yung part sa ating decor sa truck, sa siding ito. Ito kasama nito. So, ito yung activity namin today. Today is Sunday, September 4. Ito yung mga kamay na nagtatrabaho dito. Ito yung mga officers ng ating Barangay Tiguman Farmers Association. So makita mo how they are very eager na gagawin ito because we want to win the first prize. Kasi ang first prize nito, Tol, is 100K. So malaking tulong na sa amin ito pag kami nanalo. Kasi this is our initial general fund para sa aming mga communal projects na propose. And honestly speaking, we are looking for an organization or foundation to support our noble projects. Kasi tingnan mo, they spend time here. Mag 3 days na kami dito, brother. Just to make it na we can participate. Not only participate, but we have to win. Kasi tayo, lalaban tayo. And ako ang advisor nito, being the barangay councilor on handling the committee of culture. So we are now
thank
in
you so
our
much, Brad
learning
Jim
hall.
Fox.
Purita learning hall. So sana, brother, matulungan mo kami in the near future because we are very sincere on our tinatawag natin na projects. So bibigyan kita ng update pag i-assemble namin ito sa truck on September 7. So makita mo. And you can share this one to our brothers and sisters. Ito yung aming i-decor din sa gilid, yung parang curtain na mais, white and yellow. And all of these are coming from Morita Farm. So ang flagship kasi dito, brother, is the Morita Farm in collaboration, in tandem with Barangay Tiguman Farmers Association. Yun. So makita ko sa iyo, brother, yung ating corn derby. Corn derby ito tawag namin because this is participated by the 3 seed companies, corn seed companies. Ito, Asian Hybrid is locally a local seed company, and the next, yung center, is a multinational company, Syngenta. So alam ko, you know Syngenta because
Yeah,
marami
alam ko
silang
yan,
lines of business.
Oo, alam ko yung Syngenta.
So ito yung ating pangpakita sa kwan. The flagship now of Purita Farm is the Corn Derby. Labanan ito ng mga seed companies. Ang ano nito, ang labanan is the yield.
Oo,
Yield,
alam ko
kung sino
yan, Brad.
pinakamataas na yield.
Syngenta
So
Company.
yun lang, brother. Marami tayong
Yeah.
mga tanim ito. Mayroon tayong papaya, mayroon tayong guava. Yun. So that's it. I will update you what is the progress of our preparation for the float parade
Yeah,
contest.
maraming salamat,
Ang sabi ko
Brad.
sa iyo doon sa chat natin, lagyan natin ng banner ng APO ICPS in
Kaya nga,
collaboration
nakita
with.
ko nga.
Yun lang. Good afternoon and God bless. God bless us.
Yeah. Yes, good afternoon, Brad. June Fox Razo from Digus, Davao del Sur, Apo ISFS. Meron po siyang Joreta Farms. And they created barangay cooperative sa Barangay Tiguman. 6 na pong mga kababaihan ang nandun. So, ang galing ng Brad. So, influence with honor yung ano natin. Ayun, shout out din kay Brad Nathan Omar. Yo! Brad Eta from Zeta Sigma. Bungangaw Tawi-Tawi. Ka-chapter ni Sis Skyscraper. Marie Chris Paalan. Anak ni Brad Chris Paalan ng Zeta Sigma. Kabatch ko, 76. Magandang gabi sa iyo, Brad Nathan. And thank you for your always sharing our live broadcast para unti-unti we can influence with honor, maibalik yung sigla ng dating apong alam natin. Imagine, we are 60,000 now at para tayong binuhusan ng yelo at low trust. I'm referring to the book of Stephen M.R. Covey, The Speed of Trust. If the trust is high, the cost is low. If the trust is low, the cost is high. So, pagka mababa yung tiwala, BI ko pa yan, background information, anong klaseng apo ba yan, di ba? Dahil pag low trust, ang laki ng gastos. Imagine, instead na kaharap ko, pipito lang ako. Oops, apo yan. I know the level of trustworthiness. Ngayon, medyo madalang na po yan. So, through this medium, sana maging tool tayo para maibalik. We're slowly inching our way to bring back Apo to where it belongs. Yes, Utol. Matik yan. Yeah, maraming salamat, Brad. Malaking tiwala ko sa Apo ISFS, Utol. Thank you so much, Brad Nathan. Oo, dapat tulong-tulong lang. Dahil wala na tayong magagawa doon sa Apo Now Inc. Ginusto nila yung for critical issues at dragging Apo into politics, perpetual leadership through fraudulent election. Wala nang makakaalis dyan dahil magsusuicide ka lang if you join the election. Ang mga convention naman is puro excessive fellowship. Wala namang nangyayari dyan sa plenary. Babanatan ka pa ng mga diehard na pipit, bulag at bingi. Sasabihin sa iyo na, bro, this is not the proper forum. Bring it to the plenary. Pagdating ng plenary, you don't have a voice there. Because kuyog ka na ron. They don't care, di ba? Ayan, tama. Brad natin Omar. At saka may project tayo dyan sa inyo. Kay Sis Ellyn Fogarty. She sent 11,000 pesos para sa Bonggao Tawi-Tawi, yung venue. na inaayos ng OB Montessori and Philippine Coast Guard through Sea Skyscraper. Marie Chris Paalan, daughter of Brad Chris Paalan. Ka-chapter mo yan, tol. Zeta Sigma. Sa Bonggao, Tawi-Tawi. Ayun. Pwede ka mag-join dito, Brad. Marami tayong kasama. Yan, oh. Yeah, they are in StreamYard. Yes, automatic yan, tol. Yeah. Then let's welcome Alpha Pi, Brad Norodelo, Novelas, Alpha Pi chapter, ID number 07268 Mangaldan, Pangasinan, Philippines. Yes. Shout out kay Brad Rodelio. Nawala yan. Yun. Yun. Wala. Wala. Rodelio na yun. Brad. Yan. Hindi na makita si Brother Rodelio. Yan. Gulo, nagulo. Yan. Yan, Brother Rodelio. Si Novelas, 632. 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, ngayon lang pala nagigising yung mga tao sa Pilipinas. Ayan. So comment pa mga brads. And I will be showing you some video din tungkol sa mga kaganapan sa Pilipinas. Teka ha. May magaling na brad eh. Jureta Farms. Ayun. Ayan yung Jureta Farms. Ito po yung mga ano ngayon. Ayan. Bakit iba? I-share natin yung ano sa Jureta Farms. Oh, right. Add naman tayo ulit. Share screen. Add natin si ano? Yung magaling na Brad. From what you call this? Bigus. Jureta Farms. Ayan, ayan po ang ano niya. Si ito mga to. Jureta Farms ba to? Dito na ako. Oh, ang galing, no? Ang galing na ng Brad. Jureta Farms. Yeah, tingnan natin yung Brad. Parang hindi ito ah. Hindi ito nga. 24 oras pala yun. Teka muna. Tingnan natin yung ano ng Ayun. Ayan ang mga ginagawa natin. Teka. Ayan natin si Brad. June Fox. June Fox. June Fox. June Fox. June Fox. June Fox. Ayan. Yan. Yun. So, ayan po yung mga kaganapan na September 8, may araw ng Bigos. Tapos, kahapon, maraming salamat kay Brad Ernie Bolante. Nakita ulit natin yung sugar, permission to share. With implied permission, ang friends. Sugar. Tama. Oh, sino to? Magkapalatids. Gapo, kids. Teka, inahanap ko yung sa Brad eh. Yes. Ayun. Ano ba yan? Wala na. Buta stream yard din. Nagulo na ako eh. Yes. Yes, Brad. May bila ng admin chapter si Brad Chris Paalan, Cristeto Paalan at Brad Edris Calvit. Iba di ko na ma-mention. Wala na ata sila Facebook, tol. Pa-shout out sa akin, beloved organizer from Gamma Zeta, si Brad Earning Majid, Apo Earning. Yeah, shout out Brad Apo Earning ng Gamma Zeta. Gamma Zeta, Sambuanga yan, tol. Sa Universidad di Sambuanga. Ano natin yan? Kilala natin yan. Okay, Brad, come on now. We only have around what time is it now? 6:39. So 21 minutes. Tol. Tol Henry. Tol Henry. Ba yan? Yeah, Tol, shout out, Utol, proud, Saraba. Yeah, Tol Hari Mare Polo. Shout out, Tol. Proud Saraba. Yeah, ang Saraba, that's my eyes and ears during my time. 1976. I was with Brad Ray Fillert. The late Brad Fillert, SRB, Apo. Ayan, malayo pa lang. Yan ang ating eyes and ears. Nyo naman nung araw, meron tayong mga rival fraternities na Apo, they don't, understand where we're coming from. Maraming salamat, Tol. Hari Mari Marapab Polo. Maraming memories. Hindi pa saraba nung araw eh. Nagulat nga ako nung sa Cavite nung saraba na yung tawag eh. Pero masaya, they're very active. Yan, pareho ng lecture eh. Sa APO, ginawa nila, di ba? So, communicate ka constantly. Pati sa mga saraba sa UAE, nakasama ko sila 11 years ago. Sa Al-Nur, yung mga special child. Shout out Tutol, may pit na kanang kamay para sa iyo, brother. Sabi ni Brad Nathan Apio Oman para kay Tol Hari, Mara, Polo, Saraba. Yeah. Malaking tiwala ko sa Apo ISFS. Okay, we have 19 minutes, brothers. Oh, shout out. Sige, libre lang yan. And it's also inspiring us. Ayun. Yes, Brad. May beloved pioneering ng admin chapter, si Brad Chris Paalan, Cristito Paalan, at Brad Idris Calbit. Iba pa, di ko na, Gama Seta. Sa aking beloved organizer, si Brad Erning Majid. Apo Erning, yes. Oh, matibay na sa chapter yan. Gama Seta, Universidad de Zamboanga. Mahirap din magpapasa dyan. You know, di ba? Hindi basta madali. Maging apo nga, mas mahirap magpaka-apo. So, thank you so much lahat, brothers and sisters, Brad Nathan Oapio Omar for always supporting us. Di ba? Ano sabi nila? Oo nga. Okay, Brads. Good night. And I hope you'll have a wonderful another new tomorrow after a good night's sleep. Thank you, Lord, for providing us with the resources we need to carry out your mission. Maraming salamat po. This is for the glory of God. Thank you po. See you again, brothers and sisters. And all the watchers, maraming salamat po.